groups have asked Yemen's Houthi rebels to release 4 journalists convicted to death for espionage in the war-torn nation. The Houthis, backed by Iran, took over Sana'a from the government in 2014, igniting a civil war that has destroyed the already destitute country. In 2015, a group of 10 journalists were abducted by the Houthis during a raid in the capital Sana'a. The Houthis sentenced the journalists to death for their alleged cooperation with the coalition. During a prisoner swap between the Houthis and the government in 2020, 6 journalists were released while the remaining journalists were sentenced to death on allegations of treason and espionage, a verdict that Yemen's government opposed at the time. The journalists were reportedly thrown into solitary confinement, denied life-saving medical treatment, and banned from contacting their families. The International Federation of Journalists and the Yemeni Journalist Syndicate said that their arrest was motivated by the reporting on human rights violations committed by Houthi forces. The 2 groups announced they were hosting an emergency call to exert pressure on the Houthi leadership to liberate the journalists and preserve their lives. The International Federation of Journalists, which stands for the journalists and unions of over 140 countries, said the 4 captured journalists had suffered physical and psychological torture, and the denial of the right to be visited and the right to have access to medical care. The European Union mission to Yemen called on the Iranian-backed Houthi militia to stop the unjust death sentences against the 4 journalists. According to human rights reports, since 2015, the Houthi militia has committed more than 1,450 violations, including 51 killings of journalists and more than 350 kidnappings. Hundreds of thousands have been murdered and millions have been displaced as a result of Yemen's conflict, which the UN has termed the world's greatest humanitarian crisis.